Once upon a time, there was a crow who was unhappy with himself. He felt he was the ugliest bird in the world, and he saw other birds and wished he too had beautiful traits like them. One day, the crow saw a hawk in the forest and admired the hawk's sharp eyes. The crow went to God and said, "God, I am not happy with myself. I want beautiful traits like other birds." God looked at the crow carefully and said, "Crow, what do you wish for?" The crow said, "I want sharp eyesight like a hawk." God granted the crow sharp eyesight like a hawk, and the crow flew away happily. A few days later, the crow saw a royal flycatcher in the forest and admired its beautiful crest. The crow went to God again and said, "God, I also want a beautiful crest like the royal flycatcher." God, with his power, again grants the crow a beautiful crest like the royal flycatcher, and the crow was overjoyed to receive the crest. But the crow's desires were endless. After some time, the crow saw a swan in a lake and admired its curved neck. He approached God again and said, "God, I want a long and curved neck like a swan, which looks very attractive." God fulfilled the crow's wish this time too, and gave him a swan-like neck, and the crow felt he was becoming more and more beautiful. The crow's greed kept increasing. He saw a royal flamingo in the forest, and he went to God again and said, "God, how beautiful are the long and slender legs of a flamingo. I want legs like those too." God gave the crow flamingo-like legs as well, and the crow was happy imagining himself walking with his new legs. Finally, he saw a peacock in the forest. The crow went to God for the last time and said, "God, the magnificent and colorful feathers of a peacock are the most beautiful in the world. I want peacock feathers too." The great God fulfilled the crow's wish for the last time and gave him peacock-like, colorful feathers. Now the crow looked truly unique, with the eyes of a hawk, the crest of a royal flycatcher, the neck of a swan, the legs of a flamingo, and the feathers of a peacock. He felt he had become the most beautiful bird in the world. One day, the crow was foraging in the forest. He saw a hunter from afar, and the crow knew that hunters were a danger to birds. He thought he would warn the other birds about the hunter. But as soon as the crow flapped his wings to fly, he realized he couldn't fly. The weight of the other bird's traits on his body had increased, and he had become too heavy. At the same moment, the hunter came closer. The crow could not fly, and the hunter caught him. The hunter took the crow home and caged him. The crow was very sad. He realized his mistake. He had tried to become like other birds and lost himself in the process. The crow sat in the cage and kept thinking, "Why did I try to become like other birds? Was what I had less? My own identity was my beauty." The crow felt deep regret for himself, and he prayed to God to make him a crow like he was before. God had mercy on the crow, and he made the crow a crow like he was before. A few hours later, the hunter came to the cage. When he looked in the cage, he saw a crow. He was confused. He looked closely and saw that it was just an ordinary crow. The hunter saw a crow instead of the beautiful bird in the cage, and freed him from the cage. The crow flew out of the cage and back into the forest. The crow was very happy. He thanked God and decided that he would never try to be like others again. He would accept himself and consider his own identity as his beauty. This story taught us that our true beauty lies in embracing our own unique identity. Instead of striving to mimic others, we should celebrate the qualities that make us who we are.